Okay, man, are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Now, come on, now crank this motherfucker up.
Break it down like this.
Hello, Internet. Gino, Greco here again with another episode of Deep Listens. And today, we are discussing a game that we need you to enjoy, but to not tell a certain company about. We played PokeRogue, and let me tell you, it's a good game. And Nintendo needs to never hear about it. This is between you and me and Pete.
And the hundreds of thousands of listeners that are listening right now.
Just us. Just this little circle. You don't tell anyone. Okay? Only people that are cool. No narcs. Pete, hello.
Hey, excited to talk about this one. As Gino said, this is our most perilous, law-breaking podcast we've ever done. As related, I'd like to tell a brief story. Do y'all know about the time Nintendo sued Blockbuster?
No.
For
Tell
what?
me more.
I would love to. So this was in the 1980s, 1989. So Nintendo was getting very worried and very angry about video game rentals. You know, people would rent video games that they wouldn't buy. So a lot of software companies, Microsoft among them, were covered under the Computer Software Rental Amendments Act. Basically carved out a space that said, look, even if you buy software, you can't just give it away. You can't rent it. We don't care if you own it. But they didn't include video games. So instead, Nintendo had to sue Blockbuster based on photocopied game manuals. So like people would lose the game manuals for the games Blockbuster renting, so they would make some bootleg photocopied version to include with the cartridge. And Nintendo said, not happening. And then sued Blockbuster over those photocopied game manuals. The basic response was Blockbuster was like, all right, hell with the manuals then, and kept renting games.
Yeah.
Supposedly they repaired the relationship in the 90s, and now I guess Blockbuster and Nintendo were cool. Now nobody's cool with Blockbuster, I guess. But yeah, Nintendo
But also
was very
everyone's cool
worried.
everyone's cool with them, too.
I would be cool with
Sure, I guess.
Blockbuster if it existed.
Yeah, Nintendo was very worried about game rentals, and they did a lot to try to kill them.
Well, yeah, I mean, evidence of their repaired relationship was the Pokemon Stadium kiosks that used to be at Blockbuster.
Oh, yeah.
Or was it Pokemon? Was it
about
Pokemon
that.
Snap?
Where you could print out, wasn't there like was that where you could print out the
Yeah,
photos?
you could print out
Yeah.
your photos, your Snap photos.
Because it was Pokemon Snap.
Yeah.
Yeah, eventually they got it right, and you got Blockbuster Edition, some Blockbuster Edition Nintendo cartridges. That other voice you heard, M. Palladino, how you doing, M?
Hello. I've been playing so much of this game, and I'm hoping that talking about it on this show will be what finally breaks the habit for me. But we'll see.
We'll find out. It could make it worse.
It could.
All right, before we dive into PokeRogue, our normal housekeeping, you can get in touch with the show at DeepListensPod on Twitter, deeplistens.libsyn.com. We have our comment sections, and deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. You can support the show on patreon.com/deeplistens. Thank you to our new sub that right before the show I noticed, so thank you. We are rapidly approaching the point where we have to play Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yay.
I didn't think this would happen so fast after Sonic 06, but here we are. So if you want to be the person who pushes us over the edge and makes us play Mass Effect Andromeda with the Off the Deep Ends folks, just go ahead, subscribe to the show, patreon.com/deeplistens. At $3 or more, you get to put a game into the Off the Deep End slush pile. You can be the first to hear about our exclusive stuff that's coming up. There's going to be an anime podcast that's coming. Pete, I've been told you're on it.
Yeah, I've yet to complete my homework for the first episode, but I will. I promise in time for recording.
Excellent. So that's coming. So look forward to all those things. Merch on the way as well. But most importantly, it might get you on the Discord report.
The Discord report. Boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop. This week on the Discord, Did you know that there's an Italian VTuber now?
Yes,
I think you were informed
I was.
because ZP has pinged you about it probably 6 or 7 times since she debuted.
So, just a quick question, quick cue.
Yes.
Is it Is prejudice what's happening? Can I say that that's what's happening?
Yeah, this is just racism, and
Okay.
we're banning ZP imminently.
Okay, I'm just making sure, because I'm pretty sure I don't need to know every time an Italian anything happens.
Does anything.
Like anywhere in the world.
This is what you do with someone who you know is Italian. Chrissy's eating microphone.
What was that? Vanished.
No, like, hey, you hear about Italians?
Yeah. Yep, that's what's going on here. Em, do you have any opinion about this Italian VTuber? Do you care about VTubers?
I mean, I was a VTuber.
You were one.
Which makes you have opinions about them very quickly, actually. I don't know anything about HoloLive. I do not follow the big VTubers, and I have no interest in learning. I am down for the grassroots VTuber movement, not this corporate shit.
Okay, that's fair.
Just for our less hip listeners, some of our hosts potentially among them, VTubers are just like robot YouTuber. I guess not robot, like AI fake people.
No.
Well, not quite.
Okay,
They are.
That's why I ask to learn.
There is real people behind them,
okay.
but they have a like anime avatar that like moves when you move. So you can like make yourself into a little cat girl or something.
I mean, that would be my first choice, sure.
Of course, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's basically the gist of it. They play video games on Twitch and such.
Or just make sounds into microphones.
Or they make sounds, yes.
Yeah, it's
Some
really...
of them are just characters at this point.
Yeah, it spans the gamut, but yeah, it's just a person rigged onto some sort of model, 3D model, at the end of the day, instead of their face.
Yeah.
Anything else going on in the Discord?
You have been watching Hajime no Ippo?
Yeah, that was going to be my obsession of the week. Let's just get it out of the way.
Sure.
The boxing anime?
Yes, the boxing anime. I finished the first, I guess it's the first season or
Pete
more.
said ugh?
No, I've got no problem. I've never watched it, but I've seen clips.
Yeah, I watched the first 76 episodes.
So you really liked it. You loved it.
I'm
You watched
conflicted.
76 episodes of something. You have to like it, right?
I mean, on a scale of like 1 to One Piece, that's like hating it as much as you possibly could.
That's true. You know how sometimes if you've got a bucket of popcorn in front of you, you will eat much more popcorn than you would if it were simply a smaller bag of popcorn?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that. It's not that I dislike Hajime no Ippo. I think it's pretty good. My problem, Pete, you do combat sports.
I do.
The finer at a certain point they have to anime it up, right?
Yeah.
And I know enough about boxing to realize Ippo's a bad boxer. He's really bad at boxing, but he's supposed to be very good at punching. So he's like strong, and every fight has Rocky syndrome, where like...
Oh yeah, he's not getting beat, he's getting angry.
No, just everyone's trading unblocked blows to the face. They were just face blocking every punch for like entire rounds. And it's like, these people should both be dead. How is this the championship match? It's just two people wailing on each other's faces unblocked for 5 rounds. Like, what do you mean that these people? And then everyone has to get knocked down once, and then when they get knocked down, it's like, I don't think I can get up. And then they remember, I made a promise to my friends to not get knocked the fuck out. And then they get up, and so like every fight has the same tempo where Ippo is losing, he gets knocked down, he can't believe it. Oh man,
Gets back up again.
if only he had listened to his trainer anytime, literally anytime his trainer gives him advice, if he learned how to block, like, and then because he's not a good boxer, he just gets like introduced to basic concepts and treats them like they're revelations. Like, he learned how to throw an uppercut before his second fight. Like, he learned about the concept of an uppercut. At one point, he has to go through ducking training so that he can weave his head, because he would just stand there getting punched in the head.
Does he do it at all before that, or is he like,
No.
I haven't unlocked ducking?
Yeah.
He's not just bad at it; he just doesn't know it exists.
Yeah, and he's like, ducking? That would help me so much if I didn't get punched in the head. If I moved my head at all.
If
yeah.
you get hit less, you can win better.
Yeah, and like
Whoa.
he runs into an opponent who clinches, and he's like, he's grabbing me.
Clinch.
Why? I can't get him out. Why is he grabbing
Like,
me?
can you do that?
Yeah, basically. And he just like lets him clinch until the ref breaks it up. And he almost gets taken out on points. But of course, the clinching guy has to be like, I could win on points, but I could knock him out for once in my life. I'm going to go in. Oh no, the hard punching man knocked me out. Oh no. And there's a lot of plot victories like that. So he's basically based on Mike Tyson, Ippo. So he's got all of Mike Tyson's signature stuff. Like, he does the
Oh,
peekaboo.
but it's not like is he obsessed with pigeons? Like, is it
No,
just
no,
the fighting
no.
style?
The
or
fighting
him
style.
personally?
The fighting style. No, he's
Okay.
not. He doesn't do a sexual assault. He doesn't have a face tattoo.
Good.
He does the peekaboo hiding behind his gloves in front of his face. He does the Dempsey roll, like ducking and moving his head. Except instead of the Dempsey roll being like ducking and moving his head, it's an anime move. So he becomes like an engine. Like, the weaving powers up his punches, and then he does like an 8-punch combo. Basically, like Dempsey, and I'm like, no, the Dempsey roll it's just dodging. That's all it is. It's just
you move out of the way of punches.
Yeah, you move out of the way of punches. Or like he learns the gazelle punch, which is just like you jump at the guy and punch. Like that, you lunge at them and punch at the same time.
Oh, okay. I thought you mean like a Superman punch. I was like, I don't even think you can do that in boxing.
No, you just kind of lunge. Like Mike Tyson had a lot of knockouts that way because he's smaller.
Okay.
And that's the thing, is Ippo is supposed to be smaller. Like, he's a featherweight, but he is short for featherweight. So he's just always getting outreached by other people. So he does Mike Tyson stuff, which is, it makes sense. But because every fight has to have the pace of like, oh man, he's getting his shit rocked. Oh, how will he ever do it? Oh, with the power of friendship and belief in oneself. He wins barely by the skin of his teeth in a knockout. And he always wins in a knockout. So, like, I was just waiting for, okay, now he's learned how to box. Now he's just going to steamroll someone, right? And he steamrolls someone once in 13 fights that I saw. All the other ones were, he's knocked down. He doesn't believe in himself. He needs to learn how to move his feet.
There were 72 episodes and only 13 fights.
That's what I was going to say.
It's also got Dragon Ball Z problems. Every fight is like 3 to 4 episodes. Like, any fight against a major opponent is 3 to 4 episodes.
What the hell?
Yeah. The rounds are 3 minutes, canonically. But, you know, you gotta have a flashback when someone's knocked down so they can remember when they told their grandma they'd never lose. And then, you know, this punch reminds me of this time when I let my wife down one time. Yeah,
it's like the dirty secret about like a lot of boxing fights, especially if you don't know boxing, is they're super boring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like you got to do something that's like very much not boxing if you want to make boxing interesting for everyone.
Yeah.
I have said that maybe if this was an MMA anime, at least there would be some variety.
I mean, there
It's
could
like,
have been
ooh, a
variety.
kick in this episode.
You just
Yeah,
would need
he could have been kicking. He could have been like grappling. There are plenty of things you can do.
I think there could have been variety. They just needed to lean into the fact that, like, sometimes this boxer's a lot better than the other one, and they just rock them. Or, like, this guy's a runaway guy, defensive runaway. But
Yeah,
it's-
they need to, like, a lot of style, like, background for people.
Like
Like, here's what a
instead-
Philly shell is.
No, instead what they do is, like, this guy's got one special punch that, you know, looks different than the other punch. Like, this guy throws a flicker jab, and then, you know, the animation is different. Or, like, this guy's super fast, but for some reason he keeps running in on this guy who's super strong and bad with his feet. Oh, dang, he got tagged.
I remember there was one guy with, like, some weird, like, twisting cross or something. Like, he rotated his hands weird when he threw a straight right.
That is there. Anyone who has a weird punch, they have reproduced in this show. Like there's a guy who uses the Hitman style, which is based on what is Hitman Hearns, I think is his full name.
Oh, yeah, those guys.
So he has all of his punches. Like, he does a chopping right hand, and he does a flicker jab. There's a guy who does a twist punch, and the corkscrew blow, they called it. And when he corkscrews someone, he punches them in the heart too, and it freezes them because he punches them straight in the heart.
Not a thing.
Not a thing. No, not a thing. But in this show, he's like, oh, I can't get punched in the heart because it's going to knock me out. Yeah, so Hajime no Ippo, like, if you don't think about it that hard, it's pretty good. Ippo's a good little boy. That's at least nice. And there is one episode where one of the people in his gym punches a bear to death, and that's kind of cool.
Sure. Yeah. It's a standard boxing training. Do they go through weight cuts?
They do have a weight cut thing.
Okay.
He never had. Ippo is undersized, so he never has a weight cut problem because he really should be probably a weight class lower. But he ends up fighting featherweight. His senior is a middleweight, and there's a sequence where he fails a weight cut and then has 3 hours to lose like 2 pounds, and so they just throw him into a sauna with a robe on, and he passes out.
That's what they do sometimes.
Checks out.
But that's the only time. And anytime anyone's dieting, they get really mad.
Sure.
All right. So without further, unless there's something else in the Discord.
No.
Okay. Then without further ado, PokeRogue. Pete, you picked this. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this game?
I did. So PokeRogue is a Pokemon roguelite. You might have picked that up from the name. Basically what happens is you have 10 points and you have to pick your team of Pokemon. You can choose basically anyone that's ever existed. You get their base evolution, so you can't like start with a Charizard. You have to start with a Charmander. And you have your 10 points to build teams of various Pokemons of various values. You know, the highest one's 9. The lowest one is, at least to start, is 1. And then you assemble a team to run through 200 waves of either wild Pokemon or trainers. You know, you can catch your Pokemon along the way to, you know, make your team stronger. After each wave, you can buy an item or pick one of the free items or both. And you're just trying to battle your way through different biomes and different Pokemon until you ultimately beat the big boss at 200. After which you can then unlock some additional game modes.
Yes. So it's kind of interesting. This is a online game right now. It's browser based, and you create an account.
Totally free.
Totally free, and you have persistence throughout runs, basically. So to start out, you get access to any, like you said, it's 10 points that you've got to spend, and you have access to all 3 starters from every generation. So from there, any Pokemon you catch gets added to the overall roster of Pokemon you're allowed to pick at the beginning of rounds. And there's also some stat stuff and move stuff going on with persistence.
Yeah.
How does that work?
So every Pokemon has its IVs, which in the main game, they are set when the Pokemon is born.
And what are IVs for people who might not know?
IVs are individual values.
Well, they're numbers that dictate how many, like
how strong a stat is.
Yes. How many bonus points you get in the stat, basically.
Yes.
When you level.
And it can be a value of 0 to 31 for each of the 6 main stats.
Yeah, so your attack, your defense, HP, all that, is determined by these IVs. And as you gain a Pokemon, it adds its highest, or higher IVs to that Pokemon's IVs. So when you select the starter, it could have a 31 in something, because you hatched an egg, and because that one was higher than what you had before. There's also egg moves. So, you select your, Pokemon, and then it has its basic move set, and then you can add on, egg moves, which are gained by using the egg gotcha, which is when you play the game, you get a little token, a voucher, that's what it's called, and then you turn that in for a set number of eggs. So there are some that are worth 1, and then there's one that's worth 5, and then there's 10, and then there are the random eggs, which goes from common, which is the most plentiful, and then there's all the way up to legendary, which is very rare. And
All of these egg moves you unlock, all of the IVs, different temperaments for your Pokemon, genders for your Pokemon,
natures.
Shinies.
whether it's shiny or
Shinies.
not, all
Abilities.
of those for a given Pokemon will stack.
Yep.
So like your best, like if you catch 20 Bidoofs, the best IV in
You're a
every stat,
sicko to start, but even setting that aside.
when you catch 20 Bidoofs, you will get to start if you pick Bidoof as a starter Pokemon, you will get the best IVs across all of those 20s combined. So
Yes.
you'll probably end up with maxed and everything. Same thing with egg moves. Like once you unlock an egg move, it's unlocked for any starter of that type you want. For every nature you've unlocked, you can pick whichever nature you want out of the menu. You can also pick whatever gender you want for the Pokemon where gender is relevant. It's interesting. Like you are basically that is the roguelite element here. You are constantly building better starters, which means that your capability of getting further. Like, Pete, do you want to give people who are not Pokemon sickos an idea of like what the difference is between a 0 IV Pokemon versus one with 31? Like how big of a
Sure.
difference is it stat wise?
Yeah. So numerically, it works out to, if you're at level 100, it's a plus 31. So let's say if your stats would have been 200 attack, it'll be 231. The thing is, so like that's already a, 15% bump. PokeRogue, especially in other game metals, goes past level 100. So by the end of Classic mode, which is the mode you start in, you can get up to level 200. So that would be plus 62 on your levels. So first off, you get at the max a 15% stat bump. There are also items you can get. They're called vitamins. They're called things like protein, carbos, iron, zinc. Those will also increase your stats, and the amount of those you can stack are also determined by your IV values. So these are useful, one, as a base jump, and two, allowing you to get progressively higher using items.
Yeah, so it's really important. It becomes almost more important to have good IVs than it is to have good Pokemon. Like if you have a kind of crappy Pokemon, but they have good IVs and a few good moves, you can get very far in this game, even if you're not, running out Zapdoses or something, or Mewtwo's.
Yeah, the other thing, I mean, various of these elements matter, but like abilities too. Like there are certain Pokemon that are only good with certain abilities. So like one that I used a lot was Azumarill. And Azumaril's way better if you can get the huge power ability. So you need to unlock that first before it's really worth using Azumarill for anything.
Yeah, there's a few like that. Em, did you have any other pocket
I was also
abilities like that?
I was just going to mention that there's also passives.
Oh yes,
which are not in the main Pokemon games. But passives are blocked to start, and then you can unlock them by using candies, which you are gaining by defeating that Pokemon or hatching it. So, if you get enough candies, you can unlock stuff like, it would be great on a Shedinja, which only has 1 HP, but has magic guards, so nothing can damage it unless it's a super effective move. Or the weather, maybe a thing that makes it so you don't take damage from weather. So you can get, like, stuff like that. improves your chances. Stuff like getting pickup on a Pokemon that doesn't have it, so it can steal
big too,
items. That's huge. That's like one of my main strategies is having a pickup Pokemon. Stuff like that, just really good. And it's a bonus that you only get with candies. You cannot catch a Pokemon that has a passive ability. So it's always worth taking, almost across the board.
Yeah, it takes very long to unlock. In certain cases, like some of these, you need, 50, 60. I think 60 might have been the highest I saw, 60 candies. But when you unlock it, it's almost always game breaking for that particular Pokemon. You can also use candies. Your other option is to reduce cost. So each time you hit a candy, they'll drop one unit cost. So from like 3 to 2 until you get to 1 and it goes to 0.5. I was very annoyed when I found out it didn't go to 0.
Just a free one. Just take this Pokemon every time because you can.
Just give me this Oddish for free.
Please, can I have it?
But yeah, the candies and how that works, it gives you a reason to care about the Pokemon that you might otherwise not, right? Like there's some Pokemon that are not statistically very good. Maybe they're not good in combat, but maybe they have a passive you care about. Like for me, the icon here was Combee, which has an ability called Honey Gather, which gets you money after every battle. And this is a roguelite, so there are stores at the end of every battle, like we mentioned earlier, but you are resource capped, right? Like you're not getting money from random battles. You're getting money from trainer battles and from gym leader battles. So that means that if you're not getting some other way to get money, you're really resource hampered. You might need to pick between healing your Pokemon or saving up for a revive or just saying, okay, I can scrimp by. But with Combee's just giving you money, about like a potion's worth of money every battle. And if you don't need to spend it on a potion, great. You're just hoarding money. And the more Combees you have, the more that ability stacks, actually.
So you took multiple combis?
No, I caught 3 once. Because I wanted to get, I wanted more candies for it because I wanted to reduce its cost to 1. But I found out that if you have 3 just chilling in your inventory, you get 3 times the money.
They all do it, yes.
Combee is also the poster child for me for the importance of egg moves.
Mm-hmm.
So Combee actually learns a lot of very useful ones. First being Spore. So Spore is an 100% accurate move that'll put other Pokemon to sleep, which is so good they've given it like just to like Parasect and other garbage mons. But once Vespi Queen gets it, she can also get King Shield, which is very good. I mean, that makes Combee go from like a 1 point value, like, I guess they're okay, at least get some money, to like, now we're just putting people to sleep. Like, let's do some damage.
Yeah, that is what I did that with Hoppip. Hoppip learned Spore as an egg move, and then I was like, okay.
And Prankster.
I got Spore, Leech Seed, Sap Strength, and Bounce on a Hoppip. And then I was just putting people to sleep and then waiting for their eventual death of natural causes, which is pretty fun. And this is the sort of things you can build, right? Like once you get the right egg moves and you get the right IVs on some of these Pokemon, you're starting these runs with combinations that are just flatly impossible in the main game. Like it takes so much more time to get to this level of customization and freedom in the real game. As someone who's like way into Pokemon, how did you feel about the ramp up here? Like, what did it feel like to play a game that gave you a challenge and encouraged you to use a variety of Pokemon?
Yeah. Like I have a very particular way of playing Pokemon games. If I'm not doing a Nuzlocke or something like that, so I would usually. Okay, it's particular. I pick Pokemon that I think are cool, and then I decide if that's good, actually, after the fact. I fill in any gaps, like, once I have my starter and all that, pretty locked in, and stuff like, I like Aegislash, I like most dragons, stuff like that. whatever, what does Larvesta evolve into? Volcarona?
Volcarona.
Yeah. Stuff like that are like, damn, that's a cool Pokemon. So having a game where, like, I was basing a lot of my team decisions on if I had shinies, which are another mechanic in itself that we should discuss. So there's luck in this game. Shinies have a luck value. Depending on the level of shiny they are, there's a yellow shiny, which are the ones from the actual games. That is 1 luck. And then there's a blue shiny, which is a custom thing that someone made, I guess. And that is 2 luck. And then there's red shinies, which are like, ooh, fancy. And those are 3 luck. And then the luck determines how often the items on the item select screen upgrade, because there are tiers of those items. Mm-hmm. So you want to be getting a lot of good items when you level up, because you're only getting so many items over the course of a run, and you need to like prioritize better items. So I was like, I'm going to specifically go for things I have shinies of. So I was using like Plusle, which was my luck 2 Pokemon for a while, which I would never use a Plusle. Its stats aren't very good, but it was my shiny, so I was like, oh, I better get on that. And then I learned to like it, I guess.
Learn to love the Plusle.
Yeah. Stuff like Burmy. Why would I ever take Burmy or Kricketot past, like, the first gym in an actual game? And then I was like, well, these are my other shinies, so I'm going to take these. And they got, I don't know if I did clear with those. There's a icon on the select screen that tells you if you finished a run with them, and I have cleared with all of these. So I guess they worked, or they weren't getting in my way when I was doing my actual strategies. So, what was the point of this?
No, like it's given you a reason to play the game with Pokemon you otherwise might not want to or think to. And
Pokemon I would not give a second look to. I've had to plan around and build in certain ways that make them useful.
And also, like, in regular Pokemon games, if you are not participating in the online community and playing against randos, at a certain point you hit the threshold, right? You hit the Elite Four, you hit the final bosses, and maybe there's an optional dungeon after that. Mm-hmm. But at a certain point, there's no more challenge, right? There's no opponent who's going to really make you use different types of Pokemon or rethink the way you play the game. This game, because it is run-based, you are always presented with challenges that are novel, right? Like, we haven't said it, but when you buy potions, you can't use them in battle. You have to use them between battles. So, like, there's so much more planning that has to happen. Like, there's a little bit of luck. Are you going to get the healing items you need? When are you going to see the upgrade items? If you need to evolve a Pokemon, like anything that evolves by trade, you have to get a link cable to cause it to level up, to evolve. And that link cable is a rare item. You might not see one for half a run. And then, I'm sorry, but your Kadabra is not turning into Alakazam today. Maybe it's not going to learn the moves it should have. And so you're constantly having to adjust. Like, hey, you've got an Eevee. What would you like it to evolve into? Sorry, you got a Firestone.
Yeah. You don't have to take
Flareon?
You could choose not to take it.
You could, but then maybe you don't see another stone.
Right. Yep.
True.
These are the choices that must be made.
Exactly. So, like, it puts you into really interesting positions, I think. Pete, you're also way into Pokemon. Did you find that this game caused you to think about Pokemon in a different way and experience it in a different way?
Yeah, it did. I mean, especially when you get to the, like, cap. Like, you only get 10 points, so it's very easy for you to just be like, even if you didn't have that, you'd be like, all right, I'll just take a Garchomp, I'll take a Metagross, get a Tyranitar in there, like just toss in whoever you want. But now, like, I used Oddish more in this run, like in PokeRogue, than I have in call it decades of playing Pokemon before this. Like, Oddish was the real MVP for like 0.5 coming in there and just wrecking people. But I can't tell you how excited I was when I realized this game didn't have effort values.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you mean I don't have to think about which Pokemon is going to take out their Pokemon every single time? Incredible. I love it. Effort values, I'm sorry, I'm not everybody's a Pokemon sicko like me and MR. Effort values are just the bonuses you get for killing. I shouldn't say killing. You don't kill, you defeat. You make them faint.
They faint.
When you make certain Pokemon faint, it gives your Pokemon a bonus based on the other Pokemon's stats. So like Golbat, super fast. If you beat a whole bunch of Golbat, your Pokemon gets faster. It sounds good in theory, and it's sometimes fun to help like craft your Pokemon, but it's super labor intensive. It's gotten better as the games have gone on further, but like Gen 4, this was like a 4-hour project. If you were lucky, it could be even longer.
Yep.
Yeah. So you don't have to mess with that. You can try strategies out, try Pokemon out. The shinies definitely steer you towards Pokemon that you almost feel like you have to take because there's no other way to really interact with the luck system. So if you're just stuck on luck D-, you're going to be in for a bad time. Or not a bad time. Like, you can totally get through the game without better luck, but you notice it. You notice that you are getting fewer stat boosting items or like leftovers, really powerful items. And there are some items that if you get them, your run becomes kind of a cakewalk. Like, you've gotten Dynamax items before, right? What is...
I usually don't get Dynamax because of the Pokemon that I pick. Very rarely I ever pick up a Dynamax. I was running Dreadnought, and that does get a Gmax. But what I really was getting was Mega Stones. I would pick up the Mega... Who was I Mega Evolving? I don't know. There were a bunch
Rayquaza? Was it your Mega Rayquaza?
Well,
you don't need a stone for that, actually, though.
Okay.
For Mega Rayquaza, you do.
Oh, you did? So I never got a Rayquaza. Yeah. In the original games, you just needed to use Dragon Ascent to, like, move. I guess they changed that for...
Yeah. In this, there is a item you take.
I'm very jealous of your Rayquaza, by the way.
Yeah. But I've been... Now it's not working anymore, but we'll talk about that. So Mega Rayquaza is very nice. Stuff like that. And then I would take the Dynamax band, and I would never see it in like move like the pools later.
Yeah, I took the band and I've never once seen a Dynamax item of any kind.
Yeah, I think it gives you the Dynamax band even if you don't have a Dynamaxable Pokemon, which is a shame because a lot of the items are gated based on like if Pokemon can benefit from them. So if you have a Pokemon that can learn certain TMs, then that will put the TMs into the pool. So you won't find TMs that aren't applicable to any of your Pokemon. It's always going to be at least one of them can use it. But as far as the Dynamax band goes, I think I've taken it probably a dozen times, and I haven't, aside from like once or twice, have I actually used it, which is a shame because those are fun things. There are Z moves apparently.
Really? I've never seen any of those.
Never seen those, but they do have them listed on like side websites with information. So I assume there's some way to get them. Haven't figured out how. But yeah, we should also say this is a game that is like being worked on like not even by the day, like by the minute. I've had times where I was like looking at a move and there are certain moves that aren't fully implemented yet. And those are marked with a P, and then there are some that are not usable at all, which are marked with an N. And I was like, wow, I wish knockoff would work the way, like, that just, like, removes an item from an enemy when you hit them with it. I was like, damn, it would be great if this actually did something, because it's only doing damage. And then, like, I went back literally a few hours later, and I was like, oh, knockoff does something now. So they are making changes constantly. So I assume, like, there's going to be more stuff in the item pools. There's going to be things to, upgrade your. I don't know if there's, like, other ways to upgrade that they haven't implemented yet.
I mean, they've also added some stuff that is straight up custom, like memory mushrooms. I don't think are in the games, right? That is unique to this.
You have different ways to do it.
Yeah, but they've come up with the concept of, like, here's an item that will allow your Pokemon to learn a move that it either forgot or didn't learn because you didn't evolve it in time.
Yeah.
Which
it's
is
usually
good.
talking to a dude in the games.
Yeah.
They're like a tutor.
In this, they've got this item that, if you catch a Pokemon late,
Yep.
after level 50, chances are it's got moves you don't want. And you know that there were better ones that were available. They've created an item for that. Pete, did you ever get the DNA splicer?
I did get the DNA splicer. So the DNA splicer, I think this feels to me like they were like, you know what other fan-made Pokemon game is super popular? That one where you combine Pokemon into one.
Fusion. Yeah.
Exactly. So they did it. Theirs isn't quite as interesting because there's no, like, custom sprites. But
oh man, that'd be
crazy.
bonkers.
You can't ask them to do literally everything that's ever been done ever.
They cut the top part of the sprite off of one Pokemon and the bottom off of the other. So they do something. It's not a completely custom sprite, but when it's in your menu, you do see a weird messed up thing.
Sure. So you get to combine two Pokemon. So they average their stats. You get one ability and they combine their move pools.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't do the event, but they had an event this month for Pride.
Yep.
And it seemed like the premise was you get to play with spliced Pokemon as a nod to, challenging binaries everywhere. And did you play the...
I don't think that was what the...
I thought it was an increased shiny drop.
Yeah, was that what it was? I just read the description. I didn't play it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was increased shiny drops. The custom shinies were, like, Pride colors.
That makes way more sense. This is what I get for listening to Reddit.
There was a lot of rumors going around. People were like, oh, they're not going to do it. They're like, it's going to be like this. They're blah, blah, blah. And then, like, it was almost a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. It recently ended. It ended on, like, Saturday. And then they were like, surprise, we're doing it. And I was like, oh shit, I better get on that. I did not.
Shinies are a valuable commodity.
They are.
Yeah,
they're very important.
I specifically wanted the Pride ones, but I didn't get any of the Pride ones.
Dang it.
So I was disappointed. But they're still in the pool, which is nice.
Okay, that's good. At least they didn't get rid of the color combos for later.
Yes. I mean, they did all that work. They might as well, make use of.
Don't turn off the
make
game
them a
pun.
one-time thing.
Just like never again. Burn the links.
Yep. Next year, we take them out of retirement.
Yep. That would suck.
Yeah, I like how the DNA splicer. If either half of the Pokemon would have evolved, there's an evolution.
Yep. And
So,
if it's not the main one, it just evolves into itself with a slightly different color scheme.
Yep.
Which is funny.
And a slightly different name, which is pretty good.
They also combine the names, so they can make some funny combinations. I made, in my endless run, I spliced a Raticate with a Dodrio, and I made Ratio. And I was like, now I can never change this. Even though this is not a great combination to have, I'm going to keep it, and I've kept it so far. because I want to get to the end and then be like, get ratioed, idiot.
I appreciate the commitment.
Yeah, thank you.
So we've talked about a bunch of the features. Do you have any advice, Pete, for a person who's getting to this game? Any pocket strategies that you would want to impart?
Sure. I have many. So let's say hypothetically your goal is to beat the game, right? You want to get to the end. That's the first thing you want to think about. A couple things you want to keep in mind. One is you're probably going to want a fairy Pokemon. It's going to make things a lot easier for you because there's going to be a lot of tough dragons coming down along the way. And fairy, immune to dragon. The other thing you're going to want to think about is entry hazards and passive damage. Right, so entry hazards hurt every Pokemon that switches in. Easiest one to use here is, and help me out. What's the stone?
Stealth Rock?
Stealth Rock, perfect.
Yes.
You want to use Stealth Rock, and passive damage is things that just hurt over time. So it could be poison, could be burn, but because berries, remove those all the time, you're better off with things like Salt Cure or Curse. You want to go as Pokemon.
Or Leech Seed.
Or Leech Seed. Leech Seed works good too, but the problem with Leech Seed, well, they all edge it when they change out actually, so it's a problem with all of them. But I've mentioned a lot of rock stuff so far. So if you're just trying to beat the game, just want to get to the end, your real MVP is going to be Knacklestack.
Knacklestack.
Who has access to Stealth Rock, Recover, and Salt Cure, which will give you entry hazards, recovery, obviously, and passive damage. Knacklestack's a real monster in the main run of PokeRogue.
And it's essential and endless.
Also true.
We will learn about that. Do you have any pro tips for people in the regular game, which is for sickos, but not as sick as endless?
Yes. So my main strategy in not casual, classic. Sorry.
How dare you look down on these people?
I apologize. I'm just better than them. I always take a Pokemon with pickup. Pickup is huge. You are going to be, if a Pokemon had a berry that it didn't eat, you can take it from the battle at the end of it. So, and not necessarily berries. You can steal other stuff too. You could be taking really good items that you might not have in the item pools.
True.
So like damage boosting items, a lot of the enemy Pokemon have. Sometimes they have a lucky egg, which improves the amount of XP you get. Those are very nice to have. And speaking of experience, you want to get to 5 XP shares as fast as you can. This was my main advice when Gino was in the Discord starting the game. I was like, you gotta just hunt for those. If you don't find them before a certain level, you're probably gonna be boned. You get 2 just from rival fights. Like the first 2 rival fights, your rival, who was Finn for me, I think it's Ivy if you choose a male protagonist. Mm-hmm. They just are like, here, take these. And you only get 2 of those base, and then you can find the other ones in the item pools. So my first priority is always like hunting those down, because if you have Pokemon that aren't as good in combat, you want one main Pokemon to be hitting stuff, and then the others to be benefiting. And if you only have 2, you're only getting 40% experience. But at 5, you're getting 100% experience. It's like they battled themselves. So that's very nice.
Yeah, that lets everyone keep up without you having to rotate.
Exactly.
You know,
yeah. At a
suboptimal Pokemon.
Yeah. At a certain point, you should have your team like hitting the max for a 10 set of levels pretty consistently. So, yeah. What other strategies would I say?
I would say for the early game, you probably only want in the first few like 2 areas or so, you want to just be using 1 or 2 Pokemon to get them above level 7 or so, or 10.
Mhm.
You probably want something by like level 18 when you fight your rival the second time. If
Yep.
you try to spread the love too much, you will just get out-leveled, and
Yes.
you will just get beaten by your rival because they will just have higher level Pokemon than you. But once you get beyond that kind of early threshold, then you can start spreading around. And hopefully by that point, you've got multiple EXP shares, so it's not that hard. But yeah, if you try to spread around your levels in the first 10 or 20 areas, you'll lose. You'll lose almost certainly.
Unless you have some very serious type advantages.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
your rival usually has, by that second fight, they have their starter, which is either fire, grass, or water. And then bird. So one of the many birds that, come early in the game. And then they have some random thing, it seems.
And the random thing is usually one of those powerful Pokemon that don't evolve.
Yeah, like Kangaskhan I saw recently.
I saw
stuff like
Carnivine
that.
once. I was like, who uses
that's
Carnivine?
Yeah, Arctizolt I saw
Oh, God,
once.
I hate that guy.
That's a
I saw
Yeah.
Flamingo.
ooh Flamigo. That's
Flamingo
my friend.
killed the crap out of me the first time I
Fla-
saw it.
Flamigo is my carry for 9/10 of my classic runs.
Really?
Flamigo-
Flamigo?
Flamigo is great. Flamigo is my amigo.
Just use Hawlucha. Why would you use Flamigo?
Hawlucha is the poor man's Flamigo, obviously. Flamigo gets double kick, which is hits twice and is really good typing. Like, fighting is good against a lot of stuff, especially in that early section. And it also can get a dual wing beat, which
That's
is
a good
the
one.
same thing but flying. So it's like just a really good type set.
Flamigo is a blunt instrument.
Yes. It's not there to do anything beyond hit you very hard.
But it does.
But
it does.
But
do
it
that.
does.
It
Does
does.
that very well.
One other thing you don't think about, because it's not important in mainline games, but I was like shocked how long it took me to actually commit this to memory, is you definitely want to remember the first on your rival's going to send out.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
usually that's pretty much always it's a starter. So you just have to remember which starter it is. So
Yes.
like if you can remember, all right, I'm going to hit a fire type when I start. Who do I want to go out against that? Usually the answer is Knackle Stack. So you can just set your rocks. But
Yep.
that makes it a lot easier for you to start your strategy from the beginning, as opposed to like now you got to shuffle around and panic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things is this game, depending on what gets thrown at you when it's something that's truly unexpected, you do not get to just change your You get to change your Pokemon when you are battling random battles against Pokemon you could catch. In a trainer battle, it costs you a turn to put in which Pokemon you want.
Yep.
So if you get caught wrong-footed, you might just get wiped because you had the wrong Pokemon in to start and you gave up a turn. It could be a really bad situation for you. So another thing I would say is don't feel bad about turning on the retry battle option
Yes.
in the menu, because that retry battle option, it lets you retry from the start. So, if you clear a battle by the skin of your teeth and you only have one Pokemon left on low life, that's not going to help you continue your run. You're just going to be stuck. But if you can, if you just get wrong-footed, like you were completely prepared, but the opponent started with a Pokemon you didn't expect, or they got a critical hit, or they hit with like Horn Drill or something and just insta-killed you, like you can do a do-over for those. And these runs, I would say like a winning run might take 2 to 3 hours. Is that fair?
I think on average it was about
at least. Yeah.
3 hours.
So like 3 to 4, depending on how much thinking you have to do. And you should probably put the game speed up to times 5 speed. Like,
Yes.
turn the text speed up.
Get
everything
used to
up.
it first.
Yes, get used to
Take
it.
a minute. Take a
But
minute
then
to
turn all the speeds up.
Yes.
Because this is still Pokemon and the animations take too long.
Yeah.
Oh man, forever.
I turn off.
And you're not going to trust us. You're not going to miss any story. Like we'll give like a 20-second breakdown of it in a second, but
Yeah.
you're not missing much.
Yeah, so like once you turn those speeds and all that sort of stuff, like turn on the ability to retry because it changed my experience pretty profoundly. Because after you're 3 hours into a run, if you just get wiped by some nonsense that look, Pokemon has nonsense sometimes. Your move misses or their move get 2 crits in a row and you're just done. You don't want that, right? Like you want to actually enjoy the experience of having built a good team. And sometimes in Pokemon, you lose even if your team is good, just because you didn't know. Especially with like the later battles in this game, they are going to throw Pokemon at you that you do not expect, or mechanics that you don't expect because you're at the final boss, and the final boss has unique, bespoke mechanics. So just do it. Don't feel bad about it. Like just turn on that setting.
Yeah, you should turn it on, and you should not feel bad about it because the alternative is feeling bad about losing on floor 199 or something, which is much worse, or just losing the boss on 200. Like that just sucks, and then you have to go back to square one, and no one is counting anyway.
There's no such thing as cheating in a single player game.
Exactly.
No.
Especially with a
Like-
setting
And
that's
if
in
it
their
was,
Yes.
if it were, the boss would be cheating because
Yeah.
we'll just say Eternatus is your final boss, and he's a real tool.
He sucks.
menu. Yeah, he doesn't. It's not a pleasant fight. It's not. It's not a fair fight. It's a
And-
fight where
in classic JRPG fashion, he does have 2 forms, which is rough, and his move pool changes. So
and his second
Yeah, the
form,
move pool change is the worst.
his second
Yeah.
form increases stats like a random stat every turn.
yes,
Yeah.
And
Yep.
sometimes it increases special defense, and you don't care because you're a physical attacker. Sometimes it increases speed, and now he just goes first every time.
yeah,
There's also a really serious trap here. So in mainline Pokemon games, leftovers is one of the best items you can have.
Yeah.
But the thing about Eternatus is
Mm.
Eternatus steals your items. So if
Yep.
you have leftovers, he's rehealing basically an entire health bar every turn. You can't win.
we should say there's also the gates on like boss level Pokemon health bars. So if there are these like gates on the health bar, you cannot deal damage beyond that unless you just one hit KO it. So some of the Pokemon have like 1, and you just have to whittle it down, and then it gets halfway, and then you can catch it or kill it. But you cannot catch it before that gate is gone. And Tornadus has like 6 of them.
Yeah.
5 or 6.
Too many.
It's
Whatever the
really
exact
rough.
number is.
Yeah, it's like a threshold that you have to get past, and it's not very nice.
So,
And-
go ahead.
And
Sorry.
every time you hit one of those, a stat goes up. So at random.
At random, hope it's a stat you don't care about.
Hope it's a bad one.
None
None of them are bad.
One thing that I would like to touch on before we turn to endless mode and you explaining what the heck that is. I liked the slow descent into madness of your rival. Like story wise, the story is your rival at first is just your rival, like in every Pokemon game, and then slowly they go like, "What are you? Why are you? I wasn't supposed to lose that time. What the hell?" And then at some point, my rival Ivy was like, "Because of you, I don't eat or sleep anymore.
Yeah.
I just train Pokemon every day. I don't know whether I should love you, thank you, or hate you."
Whoa.
And then complete silence before the
Yeah.
last fight.
And then, the final battle with your rival is like, if you can't beat me right here and now, you will not be able to win this
Right.
and put an end to this loop.
Which is weird because the strategies you need for the rival and the strategies you need for Eternatus have almost no overlap whatsoever.
Yeah. True.
Other than there's a big dragon.
Yep.
There's a big dragon in both battles.
There is a big dragon.
And
Spoilers.
Eternatus can sense the presence of a time loop. That's the only other thing is, they do time loop stuff because it's a roguelike.
Yeah.
And you now know the whole story. You've gotten the entire story of PokeRogue in that 30-second breakdown.
But hey, they didn't need to make your rivals have a slow descent into madness, and it did a lot for me.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it's compelling.
So tell me about Endless Mode and why it's for the realest of sickos.
Yeah, so once you complete Classic Mode, you unlock Endless Mode. Endless Mode does not have any trainers in it. You are moving through the biomes pretty much randomly. It's like a set, stay in it for 1 to 5 fights. But you are just beating wild Pokemon endlessly, except there actually is an end. It's somewhere around 5,600 and something. Just because something about the code breaks after that, so they had to this is the cutoff point until we figured out how to make this work.
Yeah, it's a real Donkey Kong kill screen sort of moment.
Yeah, exactly. So Endless Mode, it starts very normal, I would say. You can do your same strategies for Classic Mode. You can have a big carry. My big carry was Rayquaza, of course. And then have a bunch of support Pokemon. Some things to cover your types.
You also start with 15.
Yes.
Instead of 10 points to assemble your squad.
That is worth mentioning. So 15 points. Rayquaza is 9, so I was happy for a little bit more. And then, so you are going through fighting Pokemon. Every 50 levels, you have to face a boss, which is one of the Paradox Pokemon from Gen 9. These are weird.
Which you can't catch, by the way, which is a real dick move.
You cannot catch them. So in any other fight, I would be well, this one is giving me some problems. I better just throw a Pokeball at it, and maybe I'll catch it, and then we won't have to deal with that anymore. But you can't do that for these Paradox Pokemon. And they have the gates on their health bars, and then once you beat them, you get tokens, which are raise their defense by 2.5 percent, raise their attack.
It makes your enemies more powerful, which is fine at first.
Yes.
But then, again, for the true sickos, you can get to a point where every single attack, one of the other Pokemon is putting you to sleep, or burning you, or God forbid, freezing you. And you then have to deal with that every turn.
Mm-hmm. So you also end up in a situation where past I want to say 2,500, there are so many of the defensive buffs stacked that your moves are no longer dealing damage. You could be using your biggest move with your biggest Pokemon, your Mega Rayquaza.
Hypothetically speaking, and you will be doing chip damage, basically. So the strategy that everyone has figured out, if you look on the PokeRogue Discord or whatever, is basically the moves Salt Cure, Curse, Leech Seed. These are the moves that actually do percentage damage of the enemy's health. These are basically get through the damage reduction. You want to have a Pokemon that has the runaway ability, so you could just run. Sometimes you just gotta get out of there. You want Super Fang does half health. That's
Drill Horn.
Yeah.
Or Horn Drill, just kill them.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't work if there's the gates on them.
You also can't use Perish Song. I found that on
Yes.
Eternatus.
Yeah, Paris Song will work on you because you don't have any of those, but it will not even say a line that
No, it doesn't even
indicates
register.
they have an effect. So
You know what this made me wonder, Em? Maybe you know the answer to this one. Is whether or not Nightshade
it
is
does.
worth it at all.
Yeah.
Because you're like, it's based on your levels. So if you're like at level, 500 and something at that point, do a pretty good chunk.
It's based on your level, but it's not reduced by defense, which is worth it until they have too much health. So you might be level like 10,000, but they still have like 40,000 health. So you're just gonna like have to do it 4
They're
times.
just one-shotting you.
Yes. Yeah. They're one-shotting you. You need to be like manipulating the splicing mechanic in order to like put sturdy on things. Yeah, because otherwise you are going to die. I have basically stacked every item on all of my Pokemon, some of which I probably shouldn't have done because you can't get rid of items naturally. And if you have something like a Quick Claw, you might move first. And if you're using Metal Burst, which requires your Pokemon to get damaged and then it deals that damage back to the other Pokemon double, you have to be hit first. But if you have a Quick Claw equipped, you might move first. So you don't want to stack up Quick Claws.
Very normal thing. Basically what you're saying is
it's
very normal Pokemon. You're playing a normal game.
It's so normal.
It's aggressively normal.
Moves that I definitely would pick in a regular Pokemon game are relevant in this one.
It seems
Runaway
like...
is definitely goated in the main
line.
Yeah.
I didn't even run away from any of the like classic mode battles because I was like,
need the EXP.
why? Yeah, I need the experience. I need the items. Why would I run from these? But after like 2,000 levels of Eternal, I'm like, I'm just gonna start. I'm doing this like Salt Cure Super Fang maneuver, and it's still taking forever. I'm just gonna run if a Pokemon has one of these like gated HP bars. Also, they're gated like 20 times at this point. I'm gonna go. They're not.
Oh, look, it's a Whirlwind. Damn.
Yeah, Whirlwind is good. Dragon Tail, but that doesn't work on fairy types. Stuff like that. Roar. Yeah.
Get out of here.
My current Okay. This is really getting in the weeds. I mean, we're already in the weeds.
Yeah.
We're playing PokeRogue.
We're playing
They
PokeRogue.
listen to our Nuzlocke episode. They know the deal.
This is for the real sickos. So one of the main strategies is to get a Shedinja, which has
Wonder Guard.
Wonder Guard.
It can only take damage from things that are super effective.
Correct.
Or weather.
Yes. Or weather. If you have the one with the passive, which you would have to have started with, that's even better because it has Magic Guard. It's not affected by weather. You splice that onto a Dark type or a Fairy type, which have almost no weaknesses. I spliced that onto a Mightyena, which has it lowers its health to 1, first of all, because that's what Shedinja does. And you're averaging the 2 HPs, but I guess Wonder Guard overrides HP. Unclear on how that's coming in. But the point is, Mightyena, Mighty Dinja, I guess, has Super Fang, Salt Cure,
Wonder Guard,
Roar, and Endeavor. Endeavor is the funniest one because Endeavor makes your opponent's HP the same as your HP, which means it reduces its HP to 1. And then if you have Salt Cure, it will take 1 damage. So that's been very effective.
What a
But
niche mod.
yeah, in any other mode, why would I have thought of this? I would have planned to bring this in. Also, I do not have the magic guard version, so I'm still taking damage from weather. So I'm literally halfway into my endless run. I'm thinking I'm at like 2,650 something.
I just love
I think I'm going out to start over.
You've got this misshapen beast.
Yeah,
It's just like, this is peak performance. It's like,
this is what you need to do to get past a certain point. My Mega Rayquaza is not cutting it anymore. I need Mighty Dinja, the dark ghost type, only weak to fairy.
Let me give you my sickness.
Literally the first
I'll carry
Pokemon.
you.
The first Pokemon to ever be banned from Smogon Ubers, and you're just like, not strong enough.
It's not cutting it. You know what I had to do to make it even viable? I had to, I spliced it with Regirock, which gave it sturdy. And then I gave it, what did I give it? What was the move? Shit.
Endeavor?
No, it wasn't Endeavor because it has
Assault,
way too
Cure,
much
Death.
health.
Roar?
I gave it Curse, but it can't use it because I need to splice it onto a Ghost
It's not
Pokemon in
Ghost.
order to use it, which is what I did with my Toxapex, which I spliced onto a whatever that big Ghost Golem thing is.
Oh, yeah, Golurk.
Yes, thank you. And then I gave. Hold on, let me open it up. Let me
Just
get
while
that.
M's looking this up, for all of our non-sickos, the only reason really to play Endless is shiny hunting.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's shiny hunting, and you get more opportunities to catch legendaries outright instead of hatching them from eggs.
I gave Metal Burst to Mega Rayquaza, which is a problem because
What an insult to Rayquaza.
Mega Rayquaza is very fast, and so I had to, in order to mitigate its speed, I give it a bunch of Soul Dews, which influence of a Pokemon's nature on its stats are adjusted by 10.
You gotta start over. This
Oh.
is wrong.
So you're telling me that you gave it a nature that made its speed go down, and then
I
you
gave
gave
it-
it soul dews to slow it
Brave.
down more?
Exactly. I made it quiet, which made its special attack go way up, and its speed is 1. And so I removed all of my quick claws from Mega Rayquaza. I gave them to another Pokemon that I then got rid of because I was like,
Throw those away.
I need these to leave. And then I'm basically just letting Mega Rayquaza get hit for 1,000,000, and then I'm hitting back with Metal Burst.
For 1 billion. You're
For
like,
1
haha,
billion.
I have sturdy.
Yes.
So you dealt me all
You-
but
you
1
fool.
damage. You moron. You've fallen into my trap.
Exactly. Like, not even joking, that's
Strategies.
the strategy.
You absolute
like a very
dumbass, said the spider
Homer
to the
Simpson
fly.
boxing. This is very Homer Simpson boxing, where you're just like, I'm just gonna let them punch me in the face until they get tired.
They'll get tired. Exactly. I mean, this is what they recommend. Not
This is the meta. This is what it is.
And
It's-
that's the nice thing about this. There is a meta game, right? Like in Pokemon is kind of solved without this sort of stuff, right? Like there's Pokemon that are just better than the other ones, and those are the only ones anyone uses. And you just need to, like, there's maybe a handful of strategies beyond that. But in this game, you gotta deal, man. You gotta be thinking on your feet. You gotta come up with plans. And you gotta make Mighty Ninja.
You gotta make Mighty Edinja, is what its name is.
And you gotta put it out there, and you gotta be like, look, it's gonna give you its sickness, and then
It's
that's gonna kill
winning
you.
HP, it's fine. You're gonna be fine. Endeavor.
I set your HP to 1. This is like basically the equivalent of when I learned about death by math in Final Fantasy V. Like, oh, how are you winning these battles? By attacking? No, my opponent's HP level is a multiple of 5. That's how I kill them. What?
You know,
Excuse me?
there is a version of this in mainline Pokemon. There was a time when Rattata, you know a Rattata? You've seen Rattata. Rattatas would have, Endeavor. It was a
Endeavor.
Focus Sash, Quick Attack. Was there more to that?
No, I'm trying to remember because it was Fear was the acronym. What were the other letters? Focus Sash, Endeavor. I think the original one was before they did it with Rattata. They did it with Aaron because it had Sturdy. Maybe that was the AR, but then they switched over to Rattata for some reason.
I think Rattata.
But it was just setting someone's HP to a very low number and then killing
it. Was
basically you would go in like a
and
competitive
then do a
environment.
priority move.
Yeah, you'd have a level 1 Rattata against like a level 100 Mewtwo, and it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, it just sets it to 1 because it gets hit, goes down to 1. Its speed is 0, so it doesn't like.
It always goes second.
It always goes second, and then Quick Attack. It's a priority move. It just hits you for 1. And this was basically troll math.
There are like other weird ones you can do with like Magnemite and Berry Juice, or like Life, or what's it called? Leech Seed is very good on this because if your Pokemon's level 1, every time you Leech Seed, you go back to full health. So it'll reset things like Sturdy.
That's amazing.
Sturdy is, yes.
Sturdy's the secret.
Necessarily pop. Sturdy's the secret. Yeah, your Focus Sash has a percentage chance of popping, I think, but Sturdy will always.
Yeah, Focus. One of them, like Focus Band. Focus Band is always, but only if it's a one-hit KO move. So like you have to go from full health to 1, whereas Focus Sash can pop at any percentage, but it's only a 10% chance.
Yes. Yeah.
Unless I have it backwards, it's either or.
No, you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
I think we've covered PokeRogue, so let me just do a quick...
Wait.
What?
Yes, I had one more sicko thing.
Okay, one last sicko thing.
Yay.
We're going into sicko mode real quick on this one.
My last sicko thing, when you are doing endless, you can basically get into a situation where you have, let me just look at my money right now, $2 trillion. And so all of the items in the shop do scale. So a potion is going to be very expensive. I'm not looking at the shop right now, so I couldn't tell you, but it's in the millions. But what you can also do is re-roll your items that you pick. So you can also get a lock capsule, which basically lets you lock what rarities the items are at. So the thing I've been doing is every level that I go up, I will then re-roll my items, keeping the
high rarity ones
locked, and I will just re-roll pretty much until I find a Master Ball or something, which has gotten harder because I've gotten rid of some of my shinies, and so my luck has gone down. But I'm still going, so I guess it's working. This is a very degenerate.
This is degenerate behavior.
Yeah,
I'm glad. Look, you're in a safe space. I'm glad you were able to share this in friendly company.
The game almost requires it.
Yes,
we support you.
Level.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, just kind of a last thought on PokeRogue here. Hey, Nintendo. Hey, if you're listening, don't shut this down. It's a good time.
You know what? It's a good time.
Yeah.
It's
a good time.
It's advertising for you. I did not know about half of these. Well, not half. 2 generations of Pokemon I haven't really looked into. So now I know what a Flamigo is.
Yeah, I know what a Tinkertink is now, thanks to this. It's getting people into Pokemon. It's giving them a new way to play. It's making the Pokemon experience streamlined to the stuff that most people like the most. It's getting people into the game and getting them thinking about the game at a higher level than they were when they were just, running their Charizard through the mill. This is good for you. This is something that you should allow to exist, Jonathan Nintendo. Please don't send your lawyers.
Alternatively,
Japanese
please.
CEO of Nintendo,
Yes.
Jonathan
Yeah.
Nintendo.
Jonathan Nintendo, actual Japanese man. Alternatively, shut it down very soon so that I can be released from it.
So that M is free.
Please free me. I'm
Yeah,
trapped.
I'm very impressed. I made it up to I think 900 and something on Endless, and I was like,
yeah.
I'm done. This is it. No,
I stopped
never
at
again.
120.
You didn't even make it through Classic on Endless.
See,
On Endless, no.
okay, I was basically just grinding for shinies. Before I went into my Endless run, I had 17 shinies. I now have 118.
Damn. That's impressive.
So
That's an even
yeah.
more impressive statistic.
That's horrifying. We're not going to check played count.
You don't want to know
played.
my playtime?
So, I'm not checking mine. So
I'm not
taking that
checking
to my
mine.
grave.
I don't need anyone to know.
I will say that I put my playtime in the Discord when we announced this was the game we were going to play.
What is it now, though?
We said we weren't going to say.
Okay. Fair.
But I will tell you.
How many?
Yes.
How many languages could you have learned in this time, or how many great monuments to Ozymandias could you have built during this playtime?
Probably not very many.
Okay, that's good at least.
My playtime went from 3 days and 20 hours, which is 84 hours.
That's not bad.
To 7 and 14.
Oh God.
Okay.
So that's a little bit more. That's 7 is a week. That's 24 times 7. Yeah, it went.
We don't need to do math here. I'm not.
It went up.
trying to make anyone do math.
It doubled. We'll say.
All right. Well, that's it for PokeRogue. Check it out. While Jonathan Nintendo is not aware of it, maybe someday it won't be there. So enjoy it while it's there.
Yes.
Pete, it is now your turn.
Nope.
No, sorry.
Nope.
Yeah, M.
It's
M,
not,
it's now your
just was
turn.
my
Sorry,
turn.
I know.
I
the
did the
sicko
stuff.
behavior made me think
Yeah.
that it was M, but it was not. It was you, Pete.
I was just very excited for this.
What game are we playing next?
So, I'd like to do something a little bit different.
Ooh.
And you might veto this.
Okay.
Not for
We
any.
can do that?
I mean,
I didn't know we could veto other people's choices.
We haven't had to in many years.
Yeah.
But
this is not a veto for pornography reasons.
sounds lame.
No. This is a friend of mine in another Discord server has made a game.
Ooh.
And so I would like to play that game, but it is in beta, and I need to send you a zip file in order for us to play it.
ooh,
Because it is that exclusive.
exclusive.
Yeah,
Man, we're breaking news.
Yeah, we're breaking news on this one. We're gonna be playing Cycle.
Like bicycle, but without the buy.
This is a straight cycle.
I think you can wishlist it?
Yep.
Not pre-order, but yeah, you can wishlist it. We are going to be playing a beta version. I think it's almost finished. it's at 95%. I think just the final boss is like not quite done.
Is this our third quote unquote unfinished game in a row?
PokeRogue, this.
PokeRogue, the 80s too.
Oh, not in a row because I picked Little Goody Two Shoes.
Oh, right.
You're right.
That one was done.
I forgot about
That one was done.
It was just made in RPG Maker. I know why you would think that it's not done, but it is done.
Yes. I did some alpha testing for this a while ago, like over a year ago. I was like, I think we should play this on the show.
Sweet. This is awesome. Yeah, thank you for bringing this. So next up, we'll be playing Cycle. Wishlisted now.
By, hold on. I should say a name.
DVTZR is the developer on Steam.
DVTZR, yes.
Dvitzer. All right. Well, thank you, M, for the pick. Thank you, Pete.
Yeah, I was excited to go back into the Pokeverse.
And thank you, dear listeners. Reminder, you can get in touch with the show at DeepListensPod on Twitter, deeplistens.libsyn.com. We have our comment sections, and deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. And you can support the show on patreon.com/deeplistens. Till next time, peace.
Break it down like this.